Hello and welcome everyone to the first stream of New Moon 2020. So today we're going to have a lot of matches featuring all the different players, and joining me in commentary will be Neryth.
Hello, this is Neryth. It's good to see you guys again after a long break. New Moon 2019 ended. Man, was it really so many months ago? 7 months. It's been
Yeah.
7 months since New Moon 2019, and finally we're back.
Okay, so if you can explain the format and how to join.
So New Moon is a weekly round robin tournament. This week, at the very least, we're playing standard format, and I believe next week as well. So the signups are open throughout the week. Cycles begin every Monday at 12 a.m. PST. They end on Sunday, 10 p.m. PST. The signups are open between or during that time. Public setups and participant information for the week will be posted after Sunday, 10 p.m. PST. Typically, just it'll take a couple hours or possibly up to 12 hours to get the information posted. And if you want to join N1GP Discord, take a look in the tournament channel, and we have submission forms. We have all sorts of stuff to get you or to help you get set up. And yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, so as Nerith mentioned, the setups will be open, so after the tournament starts, everyone can see everyone else's build, so it's a really good opportunity to try to learn and see how you can improve and get feedback from other players. So make sure you head on to the Discord, join, and you can do !New Moon in Discord to have all the info sent to you by ColonelBot. And yeah, so we're going to head into the first match of the stream, which will be Symes versus Shadow. Okay, so looking at the setups, so we're seeing two interesting builds here. So Symes is going with Emotion Bug, Anti-Magic or Anti-Damage Navicast, and R-Code folder, while Shadow is going for a bugged uh, a bugged cast with attack and charge max, but also a low of HP, and L-Code with snakes.
Yeah, so an important thing to note here is Symes does have the air raids, 2 air raids in U code. He has the barrier 200, so he picked up the defensive options in U, but the barrier 200 in Life Aura, of course. And he's got all of those boosts. He's got 2 white capsules. So this is an air raid folder, and it looks like the game plan for him is going to be to knock off his opponent's super armor using the uninstall and R code. He's got 2 wide shots and a heat dragon. The heat dragon will help him take down Tomahawk a little bit more easily, so he's not just relying on his element man for that. The wide shots will help him guarantee, or at least help him secure the uninstall on his opponent. And after that, he's going to probably switch to the U code and just use the boosted air raids, and try to gun down his opponent.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other hand, we have Shadow. He's playing the typical snake folder with the attack plus 30. But yeah, he's got Hut Batch. What's interesting here is his Navicust, of course. There's no super armor, so he is. Well, actually, no, he does have super armor. Okay, well, the lack of undershirt until he pops the Hut Batch, that might end up hurting him a little bit. Really just gonna have to rely on Hut Batch to pick that up.
Yeah, and so they both are running Gideon, they both are playing with bugged builds, so it can be about who tries to go for Dust if Symes decides to go for that, because Symes also has the Emotion Bug and anti-damage, so he doesn't always want to go for Dust to look for his combo pieces, but that is also an option that he can go for. And yeah, I think that's everything. Let's head right into the game. Okay. So we see they're starting with cubes and Symes deciding to go into dust to start with. So this is one of the aspects that I like about starting with the cube fields, because it starts the mind games from thinking about your turn, where do you go dust, do you try to deny your opponent from taking the cubes? It looks like they both went into dust.
Yeah, it was a nice play from Symes there, protecting his ability to get the dust cubes using that barrier 200 to block the Judgman.
Full cost from Shadow. So Shadow has full cost strike, so Symes probably looked at his build and expected that Shadow might be using that, and went. So that could be one of the reasons why he went into dust, to try to get extra advantage from that as well.
Yeah, the full custom Falzar is kind of a dead giveaway that they are probably going to be using dust early. So if you're also playing Falzar, you can take advantage of that by going to dust. If you're playing Gregar, you can take advantage of that by going to charge.
Ooh, Symes losing the barrier.
Oh.
Ooh. So now Shadow's waiting out for the erase man, confirms D-Cross. Nice! Even manages to avoid the Heat Dragon. And forcing Symes to waste his erase man.
That was an unfortunate sequence of events for Symes there. If he had held on to the Raw Cube for just a second, he would have been able to knock off the barrier 200.
Yeah, the cube was used on normal barrier, first barrier, which has 10 HP. Which is unfortunate. And now that Shadow is able to protect his Dust Cross, Symes doesn't have many ways to decross him to allow him to confirm his air raid. Yeah, as we saw there. Ooh.
One thing that is kind of scary in this matchup, the fact that Symes is running the anti-damage Navicust. That means that Shadow, it's very hard for Shadow to confirm the snakes here. Yeah, as you can see, the anti-damage Navicust program, it has no indicator that it is actually active. So Symes can continuously use it, and Shadow's gonna have to either time it or basically guess the window he has to use the snakes.
Yeah, so when you're using anti-damage Navicast, when it's active, the name of your chip doesn't show up as the name of your next chip, but your opponent doesn't get an indication that it's actually active, so it's very difficult for your opponent to try to guess against it.
Ooh. Fortunate.
Just a
could have been a ×2, yeah.
And Snake, Symes was still flashing anyway, but shame that Shadow missed the full area snakes. That would have been a lot of damage.
Yeah, I waited a little bit too long.
Okay, Symes has bug fix and hub bash, but it looks like he's deciding not to take bug fix, which is interesting. I guess he wants to keep his warp step. But he is going into Tengu, so now they're going to be. He's probably going to try to charge cross. I mean, charge shot to push Shadow away.
I mean, I thought he would want to stay in, or that he would want to keep his humor specifically, but he went into Tengu, so he no longer has it anyways.
Yeah. Well, now he has no way of really confirming his charges, so he just has to try avoiding the charges from Shadow. Nice, and Shadow lands the almost full area snake.
Yeah, second set of snakes there. What's interesting to think about is if he had landed the other set of snakes, it would be almost over this match right here. The Symes does pull the recovery 300.
And he's staying in Tengu as well. I think at this point Symes might be looking to get decrossed by an anti-damage or something, just so he can get the emotion bug back. Because he was under threat of potentially being hidden for the whole of the slow gauge turn, which I guess is why he wanted Tengu.
Looks like Symes is gonna get his wish.
But now he's stuck under the charge shots from Tomahawk. Okay. See where he has to follow up after the grass. Looks like nothing. Ooh, and Symes ended the turn with anger. Is he going to...
Unfortunately, he doesn't have any. He does have the air raid, but oh,
Ooh, gets the uninstall. Okay, now Symes has to try to avoid the charge shots from Shadow. Ooh, ending with anger again.
he will have to use his anger on the wind rack to get rid of the life aura, but he has his air raid and the boost for.
I guess if he times it, he could try to match the air raid, then use the wind rack while air raid is preparing to fire. But I guess that would be risky if he misses the wind rack. He's waiting for the 2x proc. Let's see if Shadow gets to this. Nice, okay. So that saved Shadow the game. That would have been game if Symes managed to land the air raid.
Yeah, Shadow managed to pull off that perfect Magnum right there. Even timed it so he got the hit on Symes as well.
Ooh.
And Symes is coming up on the end of his folder.
So he gets the area grab. So now he can pressure with his own charges. But Shadow using the 2 recoveries. Doesn't look like Symes has anything he can do now. Down to 1 HP and that's game.
Wow, those Tomahawk charge shots at the end though. He did trade back really well with them, but it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, and slow gauge, especially with Spout, because of how fast Spout hard shot is, it can be very difficult to try to avoid a full turn.
And we have the Rock Cube field again. This time with the addition of poison panels at the back.
Okay, so it looks like Sam's deciding to go into Dust again to try to get the advantage from both the cubes and the full cost. We'll see who gets. Ooh, barely avoiding the race man. Let's see if the Magnum lands though. Nice.
Shadow gets the D-Cross, gets both cubes.
Gets in one of them. That's 200 damage for Prix.
Ooh, the other one gets eaten by the anti-damage.
Which is still not bad, so forcing Symes to waste one anti-damage on a free attack. And now Symes has no defense going into next turn, so Shadow is able to gain a lot of damage, then he can pull ahead. See, Shadow's folder also has a lot of damage potential if he can manage to get in with snakes, get in snakes, or...
Ooh. And so the D-Cross goes on to Shadow, and now neither of them have Dust Cross.
Symes probably waiting for the 2x proc to try to remove the life bar. Unfortunately, he didn't get it. Still has no wind rack. So I guess he's probably taking the Elements Man to try to go for the 2x with fire, since that's a lot easier to hit. You don't really have to aim it. Shall I go into Tomahawk? Nice. It's a shame that Symes wasn't able to get the D-Cross on Tomahawk, but this is still very big. Ooh, too early on the Elements Man.
I think Shadow knew that he would not be able to get the hit in before end of turn, so he was just trying to get the area grab out.
Okay, so Shadow's asking an interesting question in chat. Is that is it better to try to use Time Freeze chip for the 2x proc and get lucky, or throw away the chip you had in hand and trick your opponent into thinking you still have it? Ooh, though Symes gets the 2x D-Cross.
This does give him a lot more options in terms of the air raid, although I think he would prefer to be using it with the Gathering anyways.
Did Symes get the uninstall off this game? I don't think he did.
I thought he did with a wide shot.
I'm not sure. I guess we'll go into the game. We'll go to see. We're missing the wind rack.
Those warp steps helping them to dodge.
Ooh, nice. Avoiding the Elect Dragon, which could have had the uninstall from Shadow. Symes' defensive turn. Okay, so Symes going into Tomahawk for next turn. Still has the anti-damage up, so he has a bit of defense into next turn. And Shadow threw away Element Man earlier in the game.
Ooh, Judge Man gonna connect.
Though it was unfortunate TFC if Symes had used it a bit later, then he could have removed the anti-damage as well. Ooh. Symes getting the full combo, although he doesn't have the emotion bug, so he's just going to have to go without 2x. And he's deciding not to take the double point because of Geddon, so he might go for a second array later on and try to get all the damage on that one. Because he also doesn't really have a wave confirming this array. Ooh.
Oh wow.
Nice.
That was a very bad cell to end up on as the air raid hit.
It was a very close game for that point, but then the air raid doing a lot of damage in that one turn and the D-cross to finish it off.
Yeah, that Tomahawk charge shot on the Tengu doing double damage. Did almost as much damage as the air raid itself.
Yeah, and the Cha-Cha also doesn't flash, so that allowed the final hit from the air raid to finish off. Ooh, Symes starting with the invulnerability, so he won't get decrossed, but he gets the decross on Shadow. Fortunate that Symes will probably have to throw away his anti-damage. Although if he presses OK again, he can keep it in his hand, but probably not worth it for him. Yeah, so he goes into dust. Ooh, gets the Judgment TFC, nice.
So I think something interesting to think about is the fact that the Symes went into top. That actually means that he loses both the anti-damage Navikas piece, the humor, and the warp step. So, actually no, not warp step, but
yeah,
the anti-damage and humor. So, if he didn't get decrossed, he would actually have no way to get it back.
That's a good point. I guess what he might have been looking out for is Shadow using the full cast, because we didn't see that, I don't think. Oh no, we saw that in game. Yeah, I'm not sure actually why Symes decided to go into dust.
I'm guessing that he thinks that because Shadow has those magnums, that it's pretty likely that he'll get the decross and get those programs back.
Yeah, that could be it. He goes into this turn taking the recovery and throwing away his white castle. Try to go through his folder. Symes still doesn't have much to go on, so he just takes the life arrow. He's probably waiting on Habbadge to use his uninstall. Ooh, missing the area grab. Symes waiting until the last second to use the life aura so it doesn't get removed. Nice. And the TFC. Symes still lost the life aura before the end of turn, but it helped protect him from a lot of damage. Ooh, and Shadow has very defensive turns, so Symes probably won't be able to land in the wide shot, and he's stuck with the charge shot from Tengu. Nice. Symes was able to remove that barrier with the back B anti-wing damage. Shadow still had more defense and didn't turn with an anti-damage. Ooh, went into ground cross. See if he managed to get in. Okay, so he lands the snakes, but he didn't go for any of the charge shots, and used his third anti-damage before the end of turn.
Symes gonna drop on the air raids here.
But he can't really avoid or doesn't have white capsule. Okay, so he didn't take as much damage. But now he can't really land in his charge shots, especially versus warp step. And now Symes has the area grabs and Geddon, although the Geddon isn't really good for him because we already saw Shadow using Habash, so he can freely move on broken panels. So he's going to try to go for the Tengu lock and gain damage with the charge shots. Ooh, Shadow goes into Tomahawk.
Oh nice, Shadow manages to protect that one panel.
Ooh, nice. Symes still, even with the difficult area, he's still able to land in few charge shots. Is he going to go with Bugfix? He's still deciding to leave the Bugfix out. Talisman. Into the erase, nice. Shadow waiting for it to time out for the confirmed hit.
Ooh, that Elect Dragon uninstall doesn't connect.
Ooh, Symes getting in final charge shot before the end of turn. Shadow is still ahead, but Symes has the 777 HP, so we'll see if that brings him the good luck. Symes landing few hits and with a charge shot. They're almost now. Symes pulled ahead on HP. It's getting very close.
Symes does have this roll as well. Yeah, he's been double pointed. This will increase the HP gap even further. Actually, if it lands...
If it lands, that would be game, yeah.
Oh, but the recovery 300 comes out.
It will be very hard for Shadow to come back after this roll landing though.
Yeah, still a huge reversal here.
and the bug fix. So now it's going to be difficult for Shadow to try to gain even with charge shots. But
this
now,
is the end of Symes' folder.
So now Symes will have to try to go for charge shots to try to get the game. So Shadow could, if Shadow lands few of his own charge shots, then it could still be a win for Shadow. It's still a very close game. Ooh. And slow gauge. Sam's unable to use the wind drag to do damage. He can use it to try to push Shadow away to protect himself from one charge shot. Although now the panels are fixed. Counter it into finishing the game. Nice.
That wind rack counter at the very end.
Yeah.
That was close. That was a very close match.
Yeah, getting using the time while Shadow's being pushed to land in the buster shot to finish off. Nice.
Well played to both Symes and Shadow right there.
Yeah, it was a very close game, so well played. Okay, so heading into the next game, it's going to be Uvu versus Neryth. Okay, so both of the players here are the ones that submitted their artworks that we've seen at the waiting and during the game. So now they get to play each other.
So Uvu's playing his A code, and I think the important thing to note here is he does have the components for Master Cross. And I guess on my side, I have kind of a, I don't want to call it a meme, but an art code that is suboptimal. That's what I'll say. You might notice I don't have uninstall.
Yeah. You don't have any anti-damage. You do have anti-navi, anti-recovery, which is very interesting, and the element trap.
Yeah, for the anti-recovery, I was just thinking, it doesn't get to see much play, and it's a chip that I really like, so I might as well take it, especially since as you noted, I don't have any anti-damage.
Yeah.
I do have the 3 different trap types though: element trap, anti-navi, and anti-recovery. So when my opponent sees me pop a trap, they're not really sure which one it's going to be.
Although they know it's not anti-damage, so that can make it easier for them to go for attacks that don't trigger any of those.
Like a Giga would always connect.
Yeah. You do have other defense though in Holy Panel, Sanctuary, and the Life Aura.
Yeah, that is correct. I also only opted to go for 4 mega chips, and same with Uvu actually.
Which is interesting. And yeah, so Uvu is also running the right tank cannon, which during Need for Link we've seen Uvu have great success with using tank cannon, so it'll be very interesting to see if any land this match.
Yeah, even though it's only tank cannon 1, it's still very scary, and it feels pretty bad getting hit by it, dead center and getting sent all the way to the back.
Yeah, I mean, so I really like tank cannon as a chip. It has a lot of utility. Can break panels, can push the opponent. The higher levels can remove life aura as well. So it can be very good. And it punishes the opponent camping the back row if they want to reduce the damage from Master Cross. Which is very interesting to see. And yeah, I think that's everything.
Alright, let's get to the match.
Okay. So we see Uvu starting with 2 components of Master Cross already. Although he has the custom 6, so it can be difficult to try to go through the folder. Okay, so we would decide to go with the tank cannon to start the game. Okay, Sparkman lands for all the hits and the air grab into life aura, nice. So now Ubu will have to throw away the tank cannon. Probably going to use the beast to try to protect from one charge shot, nice. Okay, so we know that Neryth doesn't have anti-element and by default it's not anti-damage. So it's either anti-recovery or anti-navi.
I'm not even sure which one I used there, to be honest.
Guess we're going to find out with this Judge Man. Ooh, so it was anti-navi.
So that does deny Uvu's Judge Man, doesn't get his area back, and the second area grab comes out, really denying him a lot of area.
And now using 2 Bs times X, so that's 400 damage in total?
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah.
Uvu kind of in an awkward spot here, either has to stand on this one panel or stand on the point. Does pull an area grab this turn, so
Ooh, missing the Windrak. The Knuckles landing 2, 3 hits, okay. And now the HP difference is very big, so Neryth's ahead on over 1000 HP. And ooh, okay, so deciding to go with SoulXCross, but unfortunately I don't think Ubu has any easy way of removing the anti-damage. He's going to have to try to gain a charge shot. Ooh, the game freeze.
yeah, I think you're forgetting that it is an anti-damage.
Oh yeah, I did forget about that. Then the meteors land, leaving Ubu with 48 HP. So Ubu doesn't really want a panel to be broken behind you because half of the hits from SoulXCross won't be used then. So he wants the panel behind you to be fixed. Sanctuary does that, but that also reduces the damage by half, so it's still not ideal.
You know, even with the holy panels, that still feels like it did a lot.
Ooh, going down to 1 HP. And Ubu's area locked as well with the broken panel, so he can't really avoid your buster shots with Beast. And Rush activating, so that will remove the invis that Ubu has, so that will be game. Okay, heading into game 2, starting with the ice field, which is interesting. Okay, so Ubu decided to go with the element trap to start with. And Neryth going for the spout cross, trying to get the freeze with the panels. Although he might get frozen with the element trap. Oh yeah, so the charge shot from spout has to actually land for it to form the hitbox. Nice, getting the counter hit.
He gets in the cheeky charge shot at the end too.
And now you will have to cross cancel if you want to try to avoid the Alec pulse, but I don't think you can avoid it. And confirmed with 3x. Nice. So this game is going the complete opposite way, with Uvu being ahead over 1000 HP, being in a very good position, even getting the shield in, and the element trap with freeze. Oh wow. This is complete opposite of the first game. I think Uvu is still at full HP even.
Yeah, Uvu hasn't taken a single hit so far.
Now he has very combo-y turn with bees to start with, so that will protect him even more from anything that Neryth can try to mash. Ooh, the life aura just in time. The poison seeds out, but Uvu is in beast out, so he has air and flow choose, so poison seeds don't really affect him. Although now Uvu doesn't have any wind react, so he has to use the back beat from Tengu to remove the life aura, which can be very tricky. I think in beast out, the back beat is almost, you have 2 or 3 frame window to get the input, so it's
it's much more precise.
We'll see if Uvu does land it. Nice, first time as well. And the mine, we'll see where that lands. Okay, so I think that was bottom right corner. Ooh. And now bees will get all the 5 hits. And oh, okay. Finishing with a buster shot. Oh wow, that was quite the game. Yeah, so into the mine, which the tank cannon hits into the mine, but I think mine pierces invis as well, but you're still weren't at 1 HP for that to finish the game. Ooh, avoiding tank cannon, nice. I think this is the first tank cannon that Uvu misses this game. I think Uvu landed all the other ones. Now Neryth on the holy panel to protect him taking less damage. Uvu does have the master cross combo. Is he going for it? Looks like yes. And it is confirmed vs Neryth because he has no anti-damage. I guess could be a life aura. The only other thing that would protect Neryth. Race into the TFC, nice. Okay, so full damage. And getting the master cross.
That was a lot of damage.
Yeah, you rarely see master cross because of how easy it can be to stop, but it's pretty good when you get to land it. Especially with boost. And now Neryth landing the meteor knuckles in the corner as well. Now Uvu has knuckles of his own, so we'll see he's going for that. and the Knuckles will break. I believe, does Knuckle break the Holy Panel before the hit or after it? So does the first one deal half damage or full damage?
You know, I'm actually not sure. I guess we're gonna find out.
Yeah. I think so. Some chips break the panel first, like Electragon, but I think Knuckles might break with the hit, so after hitting. Beat for the Judge Man, and now we'll see. Well, ooh, but that allowed the double Meteor Knuckles, which will bring Neryth into 1 HP. The Meteor landing, is that going to be enough damage? It's going to be close. 70 HP. But then Neryth still had the other bubble, so that gave him recovery back to 50 HP. Still a very close game. Neryth will have to cross into Tengu or Beast Out if he wants to get out of the broken panels. Looks like Uvu deciding to go for the more defensive turn with the Life Aura. He's getting very close. Okay, so going to Tengu. Anti-damage into roll, so Uvu has to get in the TFC, but now this recovery could be very big for Neryth. Going back to 318 HP. Ooh, nice! Oh wow, this very rarely happens, so Neryth used back B to try to remove the Life Aura. Ooh, and that's game. Nice, very good game from both sides.
I can't lie, that set was one of the most fun sets that I've played in a long time.
Yeah, that was very good game. A lot was happening near the end. I was having a hard time trying to cast everything.
Yeah, it was a really amazing set to play, and I want to thank Uvu for for showing me the power of Master Cross.
Yeah, so as I was explaining, what happened there is that Neryth used the back B to get in Wind, which removes the Life Aura, but because Uvu was mid Beast Jump, he was in the perfect frames to actually avoid the back B Wind particles or Wind effect and keep the Life Aura.
Yeah, because the Beast Jump can bring you onto your opponent's side of the field. Um, the wind effect from Tengu, the back B, it doesn't reach your own field, so it will not knock off Life Aura or any barrier.
Oh, was it that it doesn't reach your own field? I thought it was the timing of the Beast Jump allowed him to avoid.
Oh, was
I'm not actually
oh
sure.
is that the case for the specific instance? It could have been, but it's true for both in both
Okay.
cases.
Yeah, so that was very good game, well played to both sides. Right, so heading into the next game, it's going to be Shadow versus playerzero. Choose me. Okay.
So
So
we've seen
yeah,
Shadow set up. It's got the snakes, has hub batch, and it's got a slow gauge and a full cust.
yeah, and so on the other side is going to be me with the triple giga build, which is very fun to play actually.
Yes, the very intimidating triple giga build. It's it's pretty it can be pretty stressful knowing that your opponent has both the base anomaly and the meteor knuckles up their sleeve, and could
Yeah.
hit you with it. You know, at the end of one turn, the start of the next, basically.
Yeah, so this folder has 2 Giga Plus, but also has only custom 5. So the folder has a lot of different codes and a lot of things going on. So it can be very difficult to try to get the hands you want, which makes the folder very RNG heavy, so very luck dependent.
I would imagine a lot of it's going to depend on whether or not you can keep your dust.
Mm. Yeah, Shadow's running L code with the 3 magnums and the Raceman, so Shadow has a lot of ways to get the D-Cross. So it will be a battle to try to get in, because I really need Dust to go through my folder, try to give me a badge for the custom 8.
Yeah, so if you can get an Invis or Lyphora early, then that would secure at least a turn of Dust, but most likely more than.
Yeah.
But the anti-damages won't help against Magnum. They don't help against cursor chips, of course.
Yeah.
And he does have Rush, so the Invis would have to be your second Invis, or it would have to be a time freeze counter.
Yeah, and we both have full custom regged as well, so that goes into trying to plan the first turn with whether either of us want to take the full cost or you want the opponent to use it and keep yours for time when you actually need it.
Okay, I think we're ready to head into the match.
Alright. Okay, so starting with the ice field. And Shadow has a lot of different codes in hand. So he has 2 barriers, 1 recover 300, and 1 of the snakes. So it's always unfortunate to have to start with 1 of your recoveries, but with being able to go into Dust in Falzar, that makes it a lot better, because now you can go into Dust and then use Dust Shoot to try to go back back into the folder and try to get them together. So machine gun misses, but the Iron's Man will be able to remove the life order.
Yeah, those grass panels providing that double damage for the Element Man. I really like the defensive application of these ice panels at the back. Basically just a budget warp step. Of course, you're still technically you're in the middle for a moment, but still lets you avoid a lot of damage if you use it correctly.
Yeah, so a lot of the game is trying to see the field you start with, especially because there's a big range of fields that you can start with. So trying to see what you have, what you can play with. Ooh, Shadow missing the use on the Magnum. That could have protected his barrier and anti-damage. He does get the D-Cross. Second, so I'm going to pause the video and rewind it to hopefully fix the audio desync. I'm not sure what's causing it. If this doesn't fix it, then unfortunately it might be there.
I believe the audio desync is from the video itself.
Yeah, it looks like it. I think Shadow is saying that in chat as well. Okay, so both go into Tengu, but I denied the full area for Shadow. See who lands any charge shots. Now Shadow has the snakes trying to go for the almost full area. Let's see if he manages to land it. Few charge shot exchanges. The life are, but the snakes would have been on time. It was very close.
That must feel pretty bad.
especially when you're in Tengu. You go in Tengu to exactly protect against life aura, or to deny life aura for your opponent. But now Shadow has 2 more area grabs and the Erase Man, so he can use that to try to gain the full area lock and try to confirm his charge shots. See, the Erase Man does land. Remove the anti-damage.
Ooh, and now the full area lock.
The new
and the new variable, it gets interrupted.
Getting denied. So that's one of the really strong things about the charge shot from Tengu, is that it gives lag, drag I mean, which cancels your opponent's animation, which is what happened there.
You did manage to get that one charge shot and interrupt him, send him back, and that did buy you a little bit of time. Looks like no defense to stop this Magnum, so the first match goes to Shadow.
Now Shadow's starting again with the life aura, but this time he has the 2 Magnums, so it could be a choice whether he decides to go for the confirmed D-cross or take the defense for himself.
Looks like he's putting more value on preserving his own dust instead of knocking you out of yours.
Yeah. He still has, I believe, custom bug level 1, so he still wants to go through his folder. The life orb protecting from the machine gun, and the ground cross, the ground man SP as well.
He pulls the bug fix already. Throws away one of the Magnums into the dust chute, but he keeps the other one to use this turn.
Into full cast, so he's going to try to get the D-cross and then full cast by change cross to remove his life aura, and the anti-damage which removes his the air grab removes his anti-damage. Ooh, getting D-cross. To full area.
So getting full area control like this as Tengu can be extremely painful for your opponent. Tengu has one of the faster charge shots in Falzar. Not the fastest, but the important thing is that it does interrupt any number of actions thanks to the drag effect that it applies. Shadow does regain control of his area using that Judge Man. So he manages to avoid that very painful area lock.
And it uses the recovery 300 for to regain 200 HP, which isn't ideal, but it's still better than nothing. And now he doesn't have his own wind drag, so he's going to have to go for Tengu if he wants to remove the life aura. But as we said in a previous game, Tengu back B with Beast out can be very difficult to get.
I mean, I think he might be considering that he doesn't have great offensive chips this turn anyways, so going into Tengu to remove your life aura isn't his highest priority right now. So yeah, so he plays this as a more defensive turn. It's barrier 200, he's waiting for time freeze count.
It's the elements man. Although the Element doesn't do anything. And now he gets the Wind Draft, but there is still the possibility that he misses the Wind Draft because of Beast Jump. So Beast Jump can actually be bad for you if you want to confirm Wind Draft or other real-time chips. We'll see if he does land it though. If he misses the Wind Draft, that can be very big. Like the Wind Draft does land.
I think that was a relatively safe wind rack because you were standing on the front. If you had been standing in the middle or the back, that would have been quite risky.
Yeah, that is a good point. Now ending the turn, getting uninstalled. Though Shadow still has very high HP, still about 600 HP ahead, and he has snakes and plus 30 in his hand with the Geddon. So we'll see if he decides to go for that. Oh, looks like he isn't. He's going for Tomahawk as well to trade charge shots. Raceman into Elementman SP.
Elephant Man SP on grass, that's extremely painful, and a decross.
So now there's less than 100 HP difference.
Looks like he's gonna take this Erase Man as well.
He does have the Tomahawk. If he can get 10 range, so he just throws it away for the anti-damage and ends with slow gauge. Okay, so now that he knows I'm uninstalled, he can go for the Geddon into snakes, and
Yeah,
he's taking both as well.
He was rethinking his chip order there. He decides to throw the Magnum in after the Geta.
Ooh, the Knuckles does land though. Missing.
Oh.
The Geddon miss is very unfortunate. Nearby getting interrupted by snakes with the Beast Jump. That was very well played from Shadow, interrupting the Nearby. That would have been game if Nearby did land. Let's see if it's still game, and looks like Beast Buster Shots finishes off. Okay, heading into game 3, and Shadow starts with the bug fix, so that is very big for him.
You know, I think that was the second time Neo Variable has gotten interrupted here.
Yeah, that is true, yeah. The first 2 games when it was used, it was interrupted. Shadow going for the interrupts.
Doesn't get to use any of his chips because of the full cost, but it's no big deal, just holds on to.
Yeah, everything in his hand is really good, so he really wants to keep it. Starts with the bug fix. Judgment does land. And the nearby double life sword connects this time.
Ooh, but that Magnum does connect even through the blind. He saw where the charge shot was coming from.
Yeah, and managed to confirm it. That was very well played. And now Shadow deciding to go for the full cost turn and throwing or keeping the slow gauge.
Oh no, but he's technically stuck thanks to this conveyor panel.
Ooh,
No outs to the machine gun coming for his SoulXCross in his hand right now. He's gonna have to dust shoot and hope he gets something.
so even if he beasts out and tries to move away, I don't think he can move in time. And ouch, he doesn't have any defense in hand.
Yeah, this might be too late. He's thinking about just switching crosses and avoiding the double damage.
But he is still area locked, so I wonder if he's going to go into Tengu instead.
Definitely an option worth considering. For now, it looks like he's hovering on Spout, which makes sense. Spout for him is more of a throwaway cross.
Get an area grab. The snakes which connects. Now he has the Tomahawk Man that he can't really use, so he's going to have to throw away for next turn. And he finally gets the Life Aura as defensive chip.
It's unfortunate that it didn't come any earlier for him. He could have protected the SoulXCross with.
Yeah, I think the timing would have been pretty close, but if he mashed for Life Aura Biz, I think he would have had time. It looks like he only goes for the Life Aura, doesn't take anything else. Ooh, though he didn't have, he wasn't able to use it. I guess he could have been holding it to try for a TFC. But he's going to go into next turn again with Life Aura in hand.
Yeah, looks like he's just gonna try to get the value out of it with the TFC, that's true. And he's not exactly at a huge disadvantage in terms of the Buster battle right now. Spout does have very, very fast charge, the fastest charge in Bowser.
Okay, so he uses the Holy Aura to protect him, and the Life Aura to protect him, but then the Element's Mana SP comes and removes it straight away. So he's now trying to get in charge shots while avoiding the opponent. Okay, so Shadow's 100 HP lead and gets the recovery 300 with Habach and Geddon, and he goes into ground cross.
Ground cross is typically the charge shot doesn't see that much action. It's very difficult to land it, but thanks to the Geddon and the hub batch, he may be able to get a lock on you. Through base normally connects.
Full damage. So now Shadow down to just 300 HP. And I believe that Ground Cross has the highest DPS with his charge shot from all the crosses, Falzar and Gregar. Is that right?
I believe it.
Now he has the full lock. So this one I can't really do anything, just trying to gain some damage. The game's still very close. Shadow gets in his second recover 300.
I think in this instance, being in the middle of your charge shot as ground cross can actually be a liability because your opponent can time you coming up and they can get you in the frames before your attack is active. Does use this anti-damage. So you manage to sidestep using the hub batch to give you the air shoot.
Ooh, TFC, the anti-damage on the Life Aura.
Both sides losing their anti-damage there.
Nice Shadow landing a few of his charge shots, although, so normally without a way to confirm the charge shot can be very hard to land, especially on minus area. Ooh, Judgment TFC. That's very
Gets back
important.
that one panel. Well, no. Oh yeah, the area grab, so the order there really mattered.
No,
Back to neutral area. No, it looks like
all the area grabs. Then
the double damage if you cross connects.
So still at 100 HP difference, and Shadow does get in the barrier 200 end of turn. He doesn't
We'll see
have.
if this is a critical barrier 200 for him, because even though you're in Tengu, you do have to spend a little bit of time to do the back B and to take the aura off. That makes your positioning more predictable for him.
Yeah. And he doesn't have any way of regaining his area, which is probably why he goes into Tomahawk to try to pressure me off my charge shots.
Looks like both sides setting up traps, should be anti-damages. Life aura comes out. Oh, that's unfortunate.
But no area grab to use that to capitalize for the charge shots, so just having to wait the turn out. Ooh. Missing.
That was a nice side trap right there. That was a good attempt at a back B into the wind rack.
So I think at this point we're both at our last chips. I believe I've used all of my gigas, used most of my chips at this point. So it's going to have to be mostly about charge shots. Though the Grandman is
those 3 hits, the last one finally finishes Shadow off there.
That's into game. It was a very fun game trying to play the triple giga. So this folder was very fun to try to build and play. So I'm playing against Shadow's Snakes folder. That was very interesting as well. So well played.
Yeah, well played to both players there. That was an interesting match, a lot of interesting interactions in it. And we saw Neo Variable getting interrupted 2 out of 3 times there, but the swag points for when it actually lands.
Yeah, with dealing the 440 damage, I believe, with the double Neo Vari. Okay, so heading into the next game, it's going to be Salad versus Symes. Okay, so this is going to be the first game we see of Salad. And so if we briefly talk about the folder, she's running the B code, which I think that's one of Salad's usual folders that she plays a lot. With 3 machine guns, 1 Bs for the B banish combo, Muramasa, the fire hit high boomer for the 2x damage, and the SP navies.
Yeah, this is a very old folder. Salad has been playing it for a long time. I think a lot of people would consider this to be her signature folder, or at least her most commonly played folder. Well, overall, I would say. And then on Symes' side, we've seen the air raid setup.
Yeah.
So Salad's folder is extremely volatile. When you're playing against it, you can take an extremely high amount of damage in a very short span of time. There's a lot of burst setup, and so what it does is it sets up a lot of grass to work with the 2 fire hits and the blast menace. At the same time, there's the risky honey combo with the double point. So there's also the potential to multiply it either through the Hive counter
Yeah.
or Tomahawk charge as well. And the Muramasa as well, offering an opportunity to get in 500 damage or even 1000 on Tengu.
Mm. Yeah, and the Navicost as well. Salad decides to go for more utility-based Navicost, which sacrifices on the HP, but has a lot of other plus points like beat, rush, having attack 4, charge max, and custom 3. It's a very good Navicost.
Alright, so I think we're ready to get into the game.
Alright.
So it's interesting, this is a holy panel field right here. 3 holy panels in the front for each player.
And they're both playing Falzar, so they both have access to Dustcross, which can be used to break that. And Salad decides to stay as base mana, but takes the machine gun. But now Symes starting with the invis from stat swag, and has the barrier 200, so he has a lot of defense that turn, so he's probably going to keep his dust at least for the first turn. So she goes into Tengu to try to back B, remove the barrier, and then removing the trap with machine gun that she still has in hand.
Yeah, so Salad really not hesitating to go into Tengu here. Even though she only has 1 wind rat, she does have the... Ooh, so just a decross and the removal of the anti-damage as well. Whatever natty ship that was got taken by beat. But yeah, as I was saying, Salad not really hesitating because she has so many ways of removing life aura anyway. The SP Navi chips in B code both do over 200 damage and tend to connect fairly reliably, so...
Yeah. And she can, with the Tomahawk, charge the High Boomer as well, to make that over 200 damage. So using
that was a nice time freeze counter. Yeah, blocking that element there.
Nice. Symes using the anti-damage Navicost to get the decross on Salad. That was very close. Symes getting 1 hit with the machine gun, and Symes ending the turn with the recovery. Salad still has a lot of chips in hand, so she's going for the Blast Man into High Boomer, then Fire Hit. We'll see if all of these land, then that could be a lot of damage. We'll see if that does happen though. Ooh, Life Aura. Double point. Then Symes getting the air raid.
There it is, the boosted air raid.
Then who's
Here it
protecting
is.
Salad?
It's so that Blastman SP removes life aura off of Symes. Unfortunately, the fire hit misses, but that was a good invis right there, blocking the air raid.
Yeah, and I think the High Boomer hit Symes twice as well. And yes, Shadow mentioning in chat that air raid being used in the middle stopped the High Boomers from destroying it. Okay, now the anti-damage protecting Salt from Judgment SP, which still gets hit with the 50 damage anti-magic. Anti-damage Navicost. And she still has the invis in hand. So yeah, she's going back into the turn with invis. Oh, she denied the fairy grab, or at least part of it. Heat Dragon does land. But now I think Symes doesn't have any way of decrossing Tomahawk if Salad decides to go for that. So that could be interesting.
Yeah, Tomahawk can be a very powerful cross to go into if you just need a charge shot damage. And Salad can charge both the boomers and the risky honey.
Symes using Geddon, so now Salad has no way to go. Then the 2x air raid, and then the erase man to confirm it. Is that going to be enough for game? That's going to be a lot of damage.
Yeah, this might be game. That air raid's gonna do some ridiculous damage.
Ooh, and that was almost exactly game as well. That was a lot of damage.
This rock cube field here. Looks like Salad's actually gonna go to Dust Cross first this time. So yeah, we did get to see the that optimized air raid play right there, having the erase cross to knock his opponent out of inbit.
So Salad deciding to keep the machine gun in hand. It looks like that was the correct play with Symes having the life aura. See if a Buster Shot can remove that though. Oh, it looks like Salad didn't even go for it, maybe trying to get it more easily confirmed. So she threw away the B-Banish combo into the back of her folder. Then she went into the turn. I don't think she has anything in hand, does she?
I'm not sure.
I guess she might be
Either way,
expecting the full cost.
Yeah, that is true. The full cost didn't come out on that first turn, so.
Ooh, the broken panel allowed Symes to center himself. And, okay, nice. So they removed the life aura. The other kid misses. Ooh, and Salad getting decrossed. Yeah, this is interesting. I'm not really sure why. If she had at least the life aura in hand, if Symes used the area grab, she could have gone into the next turn with it anyway. Okay, but now she's going to Tomahawk with an area grab as well, so she should be able to get in with charge shots, at least to remove the anti-damage. We're starting with the life aura, Symes didn't have anything to TFC with. Yeah, and Symes doesn't look like he has anything, or he's waiting on his defense. Yeah, so he was waiting for a TFC, but it didn't look like it happened. So although it looks like his barrier is gone, it's actually still there. This is just something that the game does sometimes, where if you go into custom during the few animation frames, that barrier doesn't look like it's on, but it's still actually on, so that's something to keep in mind. Symes using the Judge Mana. If he isn't going to push Salad away from the area, she's going to keep it. And Salad has the Erase Man. Ooh! Removing the life or regaining the area and getting the decross with the uninstall. That was a big turn for Symes.
Yeah, that was unfortunate for Salad. Looks like she was trying to save the Erase Man for the end of turn, but if If it had been used a little bit earlier, Symes wouldn't have been able to pull off that reversal right there.
Yeah, so Salad was actually streaming this match when it actually happened, so I ended up asking her about that turn. And I believe she said she didn't want to decross Symes to deny him the emotion bug procs and the anti-magic. So that was very
Ooh, yeah, that's a
interesting.
good point.
So now Symes using the air raid, but Salad has a lot of defense. And Symes has no way of using the race. Yeah, gets destroyed anyway by the boomer.
It's interesting to know that even missing that 240 damage from the erase man, Salad's folder just has so much damage.
Yeah.
So I don't think she's really missing it at all.
I mean, I think Salad had Muramasa afterwards as well, so that was 700 damage that she decided to throw away. So Elements Man TFC'd into the bug fakes. Just 200 damage, but she still has the base that she really wants to gain. Ooh, and Symes using her bash as well. Base does connect. We will put him down to 200 HP. And Salad still has a lot of defense in hand. One anti-damage activates. Ooh, Judgment connects though. Symes down to 90 HP, so Salad's 600 HP ahead of Symes. So now she's going to Beast and taking more chips, so she's throwing away what she had in hand, but she's going for a very offensive turn. So she's going to try to get the win, and still has the invis in case she can't get it with the first 2 chips. Symes going into Tomahawk. Ooh, he matches the recovery 300, but it's going to activate with him at 1 HP. That was very close. Allowed to survive.
That was a very good play from Salad there, using the and the Blast on SP. It's gonna take Symes to 1 HP. We're gonna go into the tough screen. So Salad tried to time that machine gun. Because she had a anti-damage up, the anti-damage won't actually pop until the end of the machine gun. So if Symes had tried to do a Tomahawk swing right there, he would have eaten all the machine gun hits and then taken the anti-damage most likely.
Ooh, the recovery saving Symes, but he's still at low HP. Going to leave him with 120 HP, and Salad has the Risky Honey 1, so that could be game. Ooh! Seeing Beast Jump action there, and then the High Boomer to finish off. Okay, so the reason why it said game 1 is because I believe they had a desync in the last game. So they had to restart the emulator, which is why they showed the game 1.
It's interesting that even with 2000 HP and then the 2 recovery 300s, you see that Salad's folder still does enough damage to take Symes down, even while also throwing away chips like Muramasa and Erase Man. I think that illustrates just how much damage Salad's folder has.
Looks like Salad has quite a good hand with Element Man, Blast Man, 2 machine guns, and the Judge Man Windrak, so she has a lot of options to go for this turn. So one play I really like is starting with the Element Man into Blast Man. If the opponent TFC's defense, then you can always go for Grass, try to trigger the defense, and then getting Blast Man with 2 eggs. Okay, so it looks like Symes didn't have any defense, so yeah, Salad's going for grass, and then we'll see if the 2x blast one does connect. Ooh, Symes had the life aura. So those well played on Symes' part to wait on the life aura PS Darren's man. So usually the ideal outcome you'd want, the ideal position you'd want is to have the area on grass and then pressure the opponent to, so to have the opponent on Tomahawk and then pressure them to use defense because they don't want to get decrossed by Element's man, and then have the blast one to TFC. Okay, so going to the stern, Salad using the Judgment to remove the traps and then area grab. Let's see if the second one lands. Ooh, looks like it does, so now Salad has the full area lock on Symes. And she has the anti-damage up and anti-damage in hand, so yeah, she's going back with the same hand.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very favorable position for Salad, so there's no reason to throw away that anti-damage that she's holding on to.
Yeah, so now she's going to be forcing Symes to do something, because she has the area pressure. With the area, she's also denying his air raid, because he can't head behind the air raid itself. So if Salad's camping on the full area, then air raid also can't land. We'll be taking something from Symes. Then he has the Judgment afterwards. So he's probably going to want to follow up with the Wind Rack. But Salad mashing the anti-damage to deny the push from the Wind Rack.
Yeah, that was exactly the play he was going for. And because Salad held on to that anti-damage, she was able to respond to it perfectly as well. So Symes is still stuck in the back column.
Yeah. So the ideal play there for Symes was to actually miss the Wind Rack, because by missing the Wind Rack that would actually push Salad away and allow him to regain the area, freeing him from the area lock. But unfortunately, with Salad camping this middle, he didn't really have the option. So Symes using her badge and Salad removing his anti-damage. So now if she can get in with charge shots before him, she can keep hitting him. Nice, yeah.
The HP from that recovery 300 just feels like it just evaporated with those charge shots. You can see how brutal a Tengu lock can be.
Yeah, and as Shadow mentioned in chat, the HP bug is starting to pile up on Symes with bug fix getting really fast. Ooh, Salad stepping back to avoid the charge up from Symes, but unfortunately that allows him to avoid
That was a good air raid from Symes, evening up the HP quite a bit.
But Salad still has a low HP, 400 HP lead, and she has the B banish combo in hand with full area, so even just grab banish alone connecting can be a lot of damage and allowing her to regain the area. Sam's finally getting the bug fix, which will help by removing his HP bug. See if Salad, I think that will connect the B banish.
I believe it will.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the end of the game right there.
And then Buster Shot to finish the game off.
Well played to both Salad and Symes. We saw a lot of interesting interactions in that one. I think it was a very pivotal moment when Salad kept the anti-damage. I think a lot of people would choose to just discard it and go for maybe a more offensive turn,
Yeah.
start picking their offensive chips in that position. But Salad was going for the economy there of having both your anti-damage up and also having one on hand to use right after it gets popped. And that actually lets Salad maintain the full area control for most of the match.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one of the very big aspects in the game is deciding when you want to use your chips, and that very easily made the difference. Okay, it was well played both sides. Now heading on to the next match, which is Neryth versus SoulXCross. Okay, so I think this is the first game we see from Soul so far, right?
Yeah, I believe so. So
Okay.
he's running this M code. M code tends to be pretty tomahawk heavy, but you'll notice that he doesn't have boomers. Instead, he has a train arrow 3.
Mm,
So there is the potential for spout cross to ×2 chip charge.
yeah. Yeah, so Amcode has the high boomer and has Beast 3, which we see him running two of, and he has two of the grab banish, so he could be going for the grab banish combo as well that we saw Salad use from the previous game, and it will have a lot more power as well because of using Beast 3 instead of Beast 1.
Yeah, and an important thing to note from Soul's folder is that he does have double point and
Mm,
attack plus 30, as well as 2 white capsules. So that
yeah,
is going to probably go into Super Vulcan or the train arrow.
yeah. Actually, he could use that also for B's if he decides to go Beast, B banish, or his Giga, which is base anomaly.
Yeah, that is true. When you double point a base anomaly, it will actually break life aura on the first hit and still do 660 damage. So
Yeah.
that is one of the strengths of base anomaly over meteor. So he has a lot of options for these boosts.
And then looking at the other side, it's your folder where you have no anti-damage, no invis. Your only defense is going to be the life aura and your holy panels. So you're really stuck there on defense against this very offensive folder that Sol is playing.
Yeah, that is true. I don't really have the defensive options to avoid most of his damage. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens.
Alright, let's head right into the game. Okay, so it looks like starting with the grass field, partial grass, and you already have a lot of potential chips you can use. So you're probably starting with the red Spoutman to remove the first barrier. Oh, and then going with the Holy Panel with the Sanctuary, which is interesting. Yes, there is no other than the right Groundman. There is no indication that Sol might go for Dust to break them, but looks like he does go into Dust.
Well, even with Dustcross's charge shot, it's only really easy to break the back panel. So it's still fairly easy to maintain the holy panels on the front.
We'll be taking Spoutman. So waiting until the last moment of the turn to try to preserve your holy panel as much as possible. But unfortunately, you didn't get in your element trap.
Yeah, it was a little bit unfortunate. I was hoping he would try to do a Blast Man or an Element Man fire on that turn so that I could use the Element Trap.
I think you also both running the same Navicast or very similar. Very similar Navicast.
Yeah, I think the major difference is that Soul does have the fast barrier.
Ah.
And I think he traded one cust away for that.
Let me check. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that looks right.
Unfortunately, I still lose the element trap there, and he had 2 machine guns in that. I even step up into the tail end of this train arrow. So he lands all of his chips there, I believe. But because it's on the Sanctuary, it's not quite as much damage.
And now you're going with Spoutman to charge your bubble, and then into to get in the 2x damage and some recovery. I believe it's 50 recovery.
Yeah, yes it is.
Yeah. So it's not a lot, but it can be very, very important, as we saw in previous games actually.
So one concern for me here is that he will step up into these holy panels.
Ooh. And he misses his Groundman, which could have been used to break the panels. Ooh, I think that's going to fully miss. Yeah, that's a bad miss from Soul's part. Although with Sanctuary it would have been 320 damage, but that is still something. That would have brought you into almost the same HP as him.
Yeah, I think Soul maybe was overthinking it a little bit. Looks like he was trying to maintain his distance so he could land a full base nom. The targeting on it is a little bit strange for a lot of people. But that also put him off the holy panels, so the roll did full damage to him.
Yeah, so one thing your opponent would want to, so Soul would want to camp on the holy panels to reduce damage, but he also recognizes that this allows you to know where he's going to move, makes his movement predictable, which he also doesn't want. So it's trade-off between trying to camp the holy panel for half damage and make himself predictable. Now the anti-navi decrossing him and allowing you to confirm your bubble into Heat Dragon. Ooh, missing Muramasa. So it looks like there you were waiting on keeping him bubbled. Was that to try to let the turn go as much as possible?
That was part of it. The other part is I was hoping he would step back into the grass panel. It can be possible if you're mashing and you aren't careful. Unfortunately for me, he does manage to avoid doing that, so he just goes back onto the holy panels, and he pops his invis, so I did miss out on 120 damage from that, I believe. And this is a double life aura turn.
And you're both on holy panels, so it would have to be either 400 damage or a wind chip to remove that. But it looks like neither of you have that. Ooh. Okay, so going back into the neutral, or the same area we started the turn with. Okay, and looks like you still don't have a Windrak in hand, so you're going to have to go for Tengu to move his life aura. If he can't keep Tomahawk, then he could try to get in the decross, but you also have the meteors and the 2Bs, so I think you have a lot of defense and offense that turn. So the next turn. Okay, you decide to keep bees, I guess. I'm not really sure actually why you decide to keep the bees. Okay, both go into Tomahawk. I mean Tengu. Soul using the double point. We'll see if he gets advantage from that though. Into B, grab banish. Is that going to connect? I think he's going to miss that. Ooh, it does connect, but it was on Holy Panel, so that did half damage.
Yeah, I made sure to step into the top row there because I only have a holy panel in the back on that row. It did give me full protection against the bees.
Now Soul is down to 8 HP versus 1000 HP, so this is a very big difference. You have two bees which are very defensive but also offensive. I don't really see how Soul is going to be able to come back from this position. I don't think he can go into Beast Over either to protect him for a full turn. So he's going to Beast Out, but it's not Beast Over. And yeah, Beast finishing off. I guess a comeback there was possible. I don't think we've seen him use Super Vulcan. So it could be Super Vulcan plus 30 into something else. I'm not sure though. Where so it was very difficult to come back.
Yeah, and the options are limited when you are using a Super Vulcan in terms of the rest of the damage you can put out that turn. It's usually going to be limited to the star code Natty chip. So it can be very difficult to deal enough damage, especially on holy panels.
Oh yeah, there's another thing. So he'd have to effectively deal 2000 damage, which I don't think he has any way of doing in one turn.
Yeah, I think it's pretty unfortunate that he messed up the ground man and didn't manage to get any of the panel cracking.
Yeah, so that Sanctuary used at the turn 1, or I think end of turn 1, end up being very big for you throughout the game. So losing a chip to beat, we'll see what he has. Oh, looks like that was the only thing he had that turn. That could have been erasement that he missed. Oh, slight miss with the TFC, so now Sol losing his anti-damage over 40 damage.
So he does get the upper hand in that trade.
Yeah. So
And I'm stuck in a bit of an awkward situation here, although that charge shot at the very end, it does crack this panel, so if I move off of it, I should be free.
also, it's interesting that you decided to keep the one poison seed. What was the reason for that?
That I decided to keep it.
Yeah, as in keep it in your folder. Why did you play poison seed?
I do think Poison Seed is nice for the field. It converts that 3x3 area into poison, so that can get rid of any number of effects. I do think it's a shame that a lot of people, because there's so many people playing Falzar, you have easy access to shoes. But it's also useful because if I decide to use a Sanctuary, I can, and they start area grabbing, I can get rid of some of the holy panels that they might have access to as well using Poison Seed.
So over the last turn, it was mostly the Life Aura protecting Neryth from any of the charge shots, and Neryth trying to go for breaking Sol's panels. So now Sol is on cracked panels, so he probably wants to either go into Tengu or Beast Out just to avoid getting area locked.
Yeah, I figured he would either Beast, Tengu, or Tomahawk this turn. I really don't want him to go into Tomahawk because I want to land this bubble Doll Thunder combo. But I have the meteors here just in case he goes into Tomahawk.
I'm not sure why would he decide to go into Tomahawk. I don't think because he would still be area locked. He doesn't have a patch in his folder as an out.
That's true, but the Tomahawk, he does have chip charges to go with it as well.
Yeah.
But mainly, I think I was overthinking it. Of course, he goes into Tengu to remove the life.
When you're mashing before he manages to get in the back B, so he loses the opportunity to TFC on your meteors. He did have the grab banish, so TFC could have been good. And he has the invis as well, but I don't think his invis is going to last for the whole turn. Ooh, but he does get the D-cross with 200 damage and a bit of freeze there. Now you're locked in area again. These conveyor panels keep locking you on. Um, 1 second. I'm not sure why the video. Hopefully. No, it's still buffering. I'm not sure what's happening. Okay, we're back. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there, sorry. Okay, so you decide to keep your hand, but he goes with the life aura as well, so that's going to wall off all of your turn, I think. Yeah, so you can't really do anything, so deciding to keep the chips in hand, going into Tengu next turn, and trying to use that to remove the life aura. Although Soul still has the Muramasa in his folder, so he could be expecting that and trying to go. I think if Soul goes into Beast out, then that could be a very big tell that Muramasa is coming.
Yeah, that is true.
I guess he could try also confirming it with the Race Man, if he has
so
that.
There's no Beast, which means it's not likely. Oh, but just that. Looks like he missed the element ice instead of doing fire.
Oh nice, counter hit into the D-cross with the ×3 Dull Thunder. And then roll for even more recovery. And now again, Soul is in a position where he's almost 800 HP down. Probably doesn't have... I think he's in a better position now. He still has a lot of his damaging chips. But it's still a very bad position. If 2 hits from Meteor Knuckles land, then you could win, but you also have a lot of other options to go for. Yeah, so you decide to go for the Meteor Knuckles.
Yeah, I also noted that Soul doesn't have any recoveries, so I locked the anti-recovery just to smooth out my folder, and also I could use it as the beast charge.
Ooh, though he has the anti-damage, which will go on your Meteor Knuckles, and that TFC was very big, which allowed you to protect yourself from taking 600 damage. Now you have the beast charge, but he has another anti-damage. So probably just going to throw away your anti-recovery to remove his anti-damage. Okay, now going into Tomahawk, most likely to protect you from the white capsules that Soul could have, or any paralyzing chip that he still has in folder. And going for the 2 XPs, of course. Try to get the win of that. Soul goes for Beast as well. Ooh, using the invis, so that's going to stall him for time. Looks like he's all doing something. He was chip charging. Ooh, that hits twice. Beasts do connect, but Soul is still living 1 HP. Now the HP difference is much smaller. Now going for the 2 Bs, that could be game. I guess if Soul still has Fire Chip, he could come back. That would so Element Man would deal 200 damage and interrupt the bees. Ooh, he does have the Blast Man, so that will decross. Oh wow! What an ending! I think this.
Yeah, that was a good ending to that set, I think.
The game really. So I think that was the first time I see that happening. Both used bees at exactly the same time. Um, so the game really didn't know what to do. Yeah, the noise.
So I think I was a little bit greedy there at the end, choosing not to go out of Tomahawk. I did predict that he would use a Blast Man, or yeah, he would have a Fire Chip to answer and potentially interrupt the first Risky Honey. But even knowing that, I was feeling maybe a little bit overconfident. So it was very close to the end there.
Yeah, and Sol is saying in chat that you had 1 HP after the B combo on his side, so that was really very close. One tick or like one buster shot could have been game.
Yeah, that's true.
Alright.
Well played to Soul
Yeah.
there. That was a fun set to
fun.
play.
Yeah, well played. Okay, so heading into the next game, it's going to be me versus Sol. Okay, so I think we've seen both of us play. Sol just played the last game. Um,
Yeah,
so
and we've seen
yeah,
your folder as well. The G code with uninstall and neo variable. You got the triple gigas, of course.
yeah. So we both have a lot of damage potential with my 3 gigas and the double point um, potential that Sol has. Sol doesn't have any oh no, he does have the 2 machine guns, so he has the potential of getting the decross on me early, which can be big. And he has the Groundman rigged, which he can use to confirm removing my first barrier as well.
Well, and one interesting thing I noticed is you have 5 area grabs. Soul only has 3, but he's got 2 grab banishes in M codes. So,
And the Judgeman.
And the Judgeman. So he does have a lot of area control to answer back to your 5 area grabs.
Yeah, so this will be a very interesting game. Let's head right into the game. Okay, so it looks like we started on the ice field. I think we've seen this start quite a lot of times already. Just interesting.
I think usually it's reversed. It's the ice in the middle with the safe panels in the back. But yeah, we have seen a lot of ice.
Okay, so starting with the Grandman SP. Apologies for that.
Unfortunate that there wasn't an opportunity to get that Groundman SP. Part of it is the starting field. So Spout versus Ground, both of them are multi-hit, and so both of them can pop both a fast barrier and the anti-damage lying under. But Spout The spell is a little bit easier to land in ground, obviously. Ground, you have to actually avoid your opponent, and then you also can't go over holes. So certain fields with super holes, you just can't land ground very easily at all.
Yeah, it is an interesting choice. I think I prefer the ground reg more because you can also use it for the late game to break the panels from your opponent, or use that to get in some advantage later on with slash.
That is true. And ground does have, yeah, the application, one of the applications is a decrossing slash and gain the double damage. Whereas a spout would do more to charge and heat. But yeah, in both cases they're good multi-hit star Navi code or star Navi chips to take. And both of them they don't hurt very much if you just toss them away to beat either. So
yeah. Okay, so we're very similar HP, only 20 difference, and we're both in Tomahawk. But unfortunately, Saul had to throw away his bees, which I believe was also boosted by plus 30. Or was that just?
I believe that was a double point.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a plus 60 on it, I believe.
Ooh, he does get the Erase Man, which will remove the anti-damage. Let's see if the Knuckles. So he's Air Grab, TFC into Meteor Knuckles, which gets 2 hits, which I think that's below average. Then Sol gets in the counter hit with the bees 2x.
Yeah, that was a very unlucky Meteor Knuckle right there. There were only 4 panels for it to land on. I believe that is below average, that's true.
The HP is still just 100 difference, although the recovery that I have might change that. But don't forget that Sol has 2 grab banishes, so he could use those to get area advantage from him. Oh yeah, we see the grab banish there, but the Judgment is going to remove the anti-damage and invis that Sol put up.
Oh, so this is going to be a decross.
Ooh.
Oh wait, no, the banish already sent you into
flashing, so yeah, it looks like he used it a bit too late. And then the loss of super armor is really hurting Sol there. It interrupted his train, Aqua Train, that could have done some damage, try to bring him back into it.
You pulled out a recovery 300 here, and you get some area grab. So it should be pretty simple for you to finish this off with charge shots. Oh no, there's the life orb. So this will protect him for at least this turn. Sitting on your own anti-damage here. Yeah, they're very nice moving up and down there. Not much else to do this turn.
Yeah, at least that can allow you to avoid the Super Vulcan, but then Sol ends the turn with the Blast Man to get the decross for 240 damage.
Oh no, what are you thinking here?
So there are a few options that I can do. I have the Neovari, I have the Tengu, but both have defense. So we'll see how the turn plays out. Starts with the Grab Banish, which will go on the anti-damage.
So this won't actually knock you back though, so... Oh, the White Capsule!
Following up with the Muramasa into the finish, getting decross.
That was very well played on Soul's part. The White Capsule machine gun, that really helped him turn it around there and secure the Muramasa.
Yeah, and getting the 4 hits, so the Muramasa would have been to 1 HP anyway, but getting the long paralysis with the 4 hits was also an advantage for Soul. If it was clipped on the sides, then there could be enough time to mash out and try to avoid the Muramasa. Okay, and so this is the first time I believe we see the Permahole start and stream today.
Ooh. So he knocks out the first barrier and also gets 2 hits on you with that ground man. And yeah, these super holes, they the position does make it so you can't really get more than 1 area grab off on your opponent. It definitely devalues the area grabs you have in your folder. It is also very pesky for people who are trying to play with double point, since you can't get quite as much damage out.
The turn was ended with the bubble on Sol, so he's going to have to cross cancel if he wants to get out of the bubble status, but we'll see if he does that. I believe I had a full cast in hand, which is why I went into the turn. See what Sol decides to go for. Okay, so he goes into Tomahawk. So with that information, I'm just mashing for the full cast to go into the next turn. So now he probably still has the chips in hand, but that allowed me to get intel on what he has, which is potential advantage for me. Okay, so deciding to start with the air grab. Ooh, throwing away the air grab to get the D-cross and interrupting the bees.
He manages to dodge the second double life sword, but still gets hit by the first. And you eat the rush at the end of the turn, which lets you cross cancel or beast out of it.
Yeah. So if we look at my folder in general, having the permaholes, super holes in field really hurts, because I have Grandman SP, I have base, knuckles, I want to go in with my charge shots with the 5 area grabs, so I have a lot of things that really affected by these permaholes. So it really limits my ability, and getting the D-cross for Sol into the Raceman, so it looks like he's trying to follow up with something into the Mormasa. Second time that Sol's able to use the Mormasa to deal a lot of damage.
Yeah, one thing that's interesting with M-Code is that you have the Muramasa in there, so you can just throw it into your chip combo, and it can be difficult to react to for your opponent.
And then beat at the end of turn, taking away the Element Man SP, denying even that. Then getting the recovery 300 in Habbatch, so that brings the difference to 200 HP, so it's a little more manageable. But Sol has a lot of defense going into this turn, and I don't really have anything else to do, so ooh, getting clipped by Super Vulcan. If that connected, that would have been game.
Yeah, I do believe that was a white capsule and attack plus 30 on it, so that would have done 500 damage. Actually 800 damage because of the beast boost.
And then Sol ending with the Tengu Breath, which gives him 2 hits, I believe. Then stepped out.
Yeah, the Tengu Beast Charge is honestly one of the more powerful ones.
Yeah, especially if your opponent doesn't have super armor or gets uninstalled, then it can do a lot of damage. Sol going for the double point into base, but then the machine gun with anti-damage. So that will extend the anti-damage for a little bit, though unfortunately machine gun does miss. And the wood dragon misses as well, so there was a lot of missed damage on that turn.
Yeah, it looks like Sol overstepped by one panel. The Tengu Breath, it does have a T shape. So the wide area actually went off the screen.
So now I'm down to 190 HP. I do have recovered 300 in hand, but looks like I'm going for the anti-damage life aura for more defensive turn instead of the recovery. Okay, so both use defense. The Raceman there piercing the invis and interrupting the machine gun.
Unfortunately, there's not much follow-up this turn because this was a life aura. But at the very least, you force him back a little bit. You can kind of see the impact of that area grab, exactly one panel. There's just a pretty big limit on what you can do thanks to those super holes.
Yeah.
It also makes Tengu lock impossible to achieve.
Yeah, and if the opponent has air shoes as well, that stops Tomahawk from getting confirmed charge shots. Ooh, Judgment stopped by the anti-damage. And the life aura from Soul's part, so now we both have life aura up. Doesn't look like either of us have anything to do against it. But he did go with grass. So
this could be a blast man follow-up.
Yep,
it is.
With the blast man. So that was good mashing on Soul's part because I was trying to step up into the perma holes to protect my life aura, but I didn't get that in time. Now I'm forced to go into Tengu Cross to try to remove his life aura. I'm down to my final 5 chips.
It may be your final 5, but 2 of them are very hard hitting. Well, actually 3. I believe you still have the Groundman SP as well.
1 hit on the Meteor Knuckles, but now he's locked in area with Tengu. And the broken panels now actually make it more difficult for Groundman and Base to hit. Actually, I believe if I step up with the base, would that still hit?
Yeah, I believe sure. if you moved up and you used the base anomaly, you would get 2 hits off.
Okay. We'll get the panels fix and Tengu charge shot to finish off. It was very close game. Just edging on very low HP for most of the match. Okay, and looks like we started with grass and the objects on the field into game 3. Okay, so we'll see if Soul also decides to go into dust to try to get the objects. Ooh, looks like he isn't. Went into Tomahawk, so he could have the machine gun. Although unfortunately, probably a misstep caused him to break his, to activate his Groundman on a cube.
Or was that a calculated play right there to deny you one of the cubes, one of the rock?
It could be. Could be.
I mean, technically speaking, the Groundman would do 180, whereas one of those rocks does 200.
Yeah.
Maybe it was all planned?
Could be, yeah. So TFC's the base, but now I have the Element Man SP, so this is actually better trade for me.
That 720 damage. Ooh, whereas the base anomaly only gets 2 hits off from that range.
Yeah. And now he's denied Tomahawk as well.
Still fairly close range, or a fairly close HP though.
But now he gets the full area. So he could go into Tengu next turn, but I do have the Neovari in hand.
Interesting choice, throwing away the recovery 300, choosing to put that at the back. Looking like you're going for a much more aggressive turn here, hoping to close it out.
Yeah, so trying
Soul
to see the HP.
Yeah, Soul is only at 680, so it is possible to end it on this turn if he doesn't have enough defense. Ooh, so the mirrored erase, man. Both of these should connect.
So it's going to be down to who mashes faster out of it.
And while they both connect, it'll hurt more for you, but it did remove a trap on his side, so it's about even in terms of its impact.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Them be taking away the base that could... I mean, that would have been 2 hits only, so that wouldn't close the game, but now I'm stuck with Tengu luck.
Not a lot of good options for you here. If you can connect the Neo Variable Sword, then it would be really good. I think it would be enough to close the game out, but...
Yeah, so the first set would do, if I do the double life sword, the first set would be 420 decrossing, then the second one to finish off. Looks like we both cross cancel. He has the mashed defense, so just finishes the game off.
Well, hey, I gotta give you credit. You got out that double life sword very quickly.
But it wasn't quite fast enough for him, and he finished the game off with the machine gun. Yeah, those.
Well played to both of you. That was, that was pretty funny at that.
Yeah, so Shadow's saying in chat to go Knuckles first. I think at that point I was thinking that if I go Knuckles, then that will give him the opportunity to TFC, but also that will cause him to flash, and it's likely won't be enough damage to win the game. I would have to get in 7 hits, which is impossible basically to get with that arrangement to finish the game off. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that was just a rough position to be in. But yeah, well played to both of you.
Alright, so heading into the next match, which is going to be the final one in Salad versus Shadow.
We have seen both of their setups before. Salad's B code, the high damage B code, versus Shadow's snakes.
Yeah, so this will be a very interesting match. They both have potential for a lot of damage. Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the main things. Shadow has the Geddons, which outside of crossing or going into beast, Salad can't really answer.
Yeah, I mean, I think Salad's damage is a little bit more spread out between the chips, whereas Shadow's is more loaded into the snakes, but he does have attack max, so his buster stats are good. Charge max, attack max. It'll let him get in the consistent damage that he needs as well.
He also has a lot more HP. He has the 500 extra in the Navicost and 600 from recoveries.
It's actually a 900 and a fast barrier from the Navicost. 500 and 400. So then and then the recovery 300. Yeah, those recovery 300s as well. So another 600. But we did already see Salad take down Symes, who had 2600 total HP, and Shadow's got 2500 here. So we know Salad's folder doesn't struggle against high HP, but it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Alright, let's head right into the game. Also, one thing I don't think we've touched on is that Shadow isn't running any invis in his folder. I don't think so, unless I've missed it.
No, I don't see any invis either, so...
Yeah.
I mean, Salad does have Rush, so that takes away a little bit of the value in Salad's Navi cost.
But also gives Shadow less defense to work with, which allows Salad's high damaging chips to shine, basically.
That's true, but I think it's also worth noting that a decent chunk of Salad's damage is not time freeze, so you still have the potential to dodge it on the field.
Salad missing the grass, but she still has the back to remove this. See, nice. The fire hit does connect.
Yeah, that fire hit 3 on grass, that is always painful to receive.
Yeah. And Salad is decrossed, so we're seeing the effect of decross. So now she's flinched at the end of turn, which gives, if she doesn't cross cancel, which looks like she might be, gives Shadow the opportunity to combo. Oh, she didn't cross cancel, interesting. But she does have the Protoman SP in hand. Magnum. Nice, so that does connect. That's very big with the decross. But this Magnum denies Salad from doing double point. But looks like she will go for it anyway to at least remove his anti-damage and regain the area.
It's unfortunate that she didn't get any of the damage from her last chips, but she does get all of the utility up.
Yeah, and I guess one reason she didn't go into Tomahawk is that she didn't want to signal out that she has the B-Banish combo.
Yeah, that is true. I think with Salad's B-code, she does not like charging the wood chips very much because it does a signal to her opponent that they can potentially avoid it just by hugging the center if it's boomers, that they can get into position to avoid it if it's bees.
So it looks like she used the back B to confirm the placement for the race man, but she doesn't really have any follow-up for it, so it was mostly to move the anti-damage, or not anti-damage, the trap that Shadow had up. Salad ending with the life aura. Okay, so now she has interesting choice. Yeah, so it looks like she's going for the Muramasa, expecting Shadow to go into Tengu and the back B for removing the life aura, but looks like he didn't. So she expects him to have the Windrak. Ooh.
Oh
nice.
Wow, Shadow predicting that maybe.
I think, yeah, so Shadow was in potentially rough position where he could have gotten countered, but him stepping up helped him avoid Judgment potentially, interrupting him, and also avoiding the Muramasa, so that was very well played.
Yeah, I think it would have been possible for him to still get countered if it were an Element Man, but I believe that was already used earlier.
Yeah, and she used the Race Man earlier as well.
Oh, that was a good TFC chain right there. Shadow manages to protect himself against the Basinov. I believe he had to throw away one chip, but it's not a big loss compared to taking the 4 hits from Basinov.
Solid, I believe using the Invis too early, because now it's run out without getting any value from it, allowing the snakes from Shadow to remove her anti-damage. Looks Looks like Salad's going for machine gun, so very heavy on damage. 2 machine guns. Then I believe that was the blast man as well for the last chip.
Oh, it's true that Shadow threw away the bug fix to avoid the base anomaly there, so it is really hard to gauge whether it's going to be worth it.
Yeah, and he has custom bug I believe as well, so...
At the same time, if he hadn't thrown it away, he might be dead at this very moment.
Yeah,
so it can be hard to say.
Oh, nice.
Manages to block the Blast Man SP with a shield.
Looks like Salad's going to go with Beast out to confirm the Wind Track and maybe the Fire Hit.
I believe these are the final chips in Salad's folder.
Yeah, I think that's right. Now Shadow using the recovery. Windrock does connect. Now she's charging the embers. Ooh, getting 2 hits. Ooh, that was an early TFC on the Judgment, but I guess she might be throwing it away because with the Geddon she can't really get much use out of it.
That's true, yeah, she might be more interested in just skipping the Judge Man and going straight into the Fire Hit.
Using the air grab. Ooh.
Oh, the Magman.
It does hit.
Oh no, I can interrupt it.
Shadow using snakes, leaving Salad down to 70 HP, but then the Buster Shots finish off. That was very close. Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. 2 of the snakes did not land because Salad was standing too close to the front. It came out at her sides and just shot forward, missing.
So yeah, I think that would have been game. These 2 did land.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Salad would have stepped back, though. Because the other option would just be to wait for the panels to return. I mean, it would take quite a while, I believe, but
yeah.
It looked like she was betting on Shadow stepping into the Buster.
Shadow starting with the blind, so that really hurts him not being able to avoid the hits from Salad. Looks like TFC protecting Shadow from 250, let's see. Okay, so Salad's able to mash in the anti-damage in time. Looks like Salad's deciding to go for her own dust now, and with the life aura to protect it from Magnum that Shadow could have. Ooh, oh wow! But Shadow still avoided the decross, which is very close. Now Salad's stuck with Shadow being on Tango Lock, so it can gain a lot of damage. And the snake TFC as well, full area.
Just a little bit early on that life aura there to end.
I think this is the first full area snakes that we've seen so far. And yes, Salad's still area locked with Geddon. She can't really regain with Judge Man, so she might have to go with the grab banish. Ooh, for the Proto Man, looks like to decross. Nice, getting a charge shot. Judgment regaining Salad's area. That was actually very good chip selection from Salad, knowing the timing for Geddon was going to run out to allow her to regain the area. Getting decrossed, but she does land, I mean getting uninstalled, but she does land the Protoman, so that brings the game very close.
Yeah, 580 damage from the Proto Man and the decross.
No,
They're
200
only
HP
200
difference.
HP
Yeah.
apart, yeah.
And she's going for the B banish combo, although the banish isn't really going to work if Shadow doesn't use an area grab, but looks like Shadow will want to use an area grab, yeah. So this is actually very good chip order for Salad. Let's see if she... Ooh, the rush.
Oh.
That was very bad. So now she's going to get decrossed. She's going down to 1 HP and one buster shot finishes off. That was very close. If Salad managed to get in B banish, that could have been game.
Unfortunately, with that that rush, that allowed Shadow to land the Tomahawk charge shot, do double damage, and finish off that game. And now they're tied up 1-1.
Yeah. And we're starting with the cubes field again.
Cubes in the front and poison in the back.
Ooh.
It's a very interesting field. So Shadow loses Dust Cross almost immediately.
Yeah, so this is one of the mind games that goes into that start, which is why I really like it. So Salad decided to stay out of Dust, which risked her losing on the cube, the 400 damage from the cubes, but she decrossed the Shadow and avoided getting decrossed.
Oh, this could be big. So Salad's keeping the anger right now.
But Shadow also camping behind the broken panels denied Protoman being used. I'm not sure if Shadow's actually guessing that Salad could have Protoman, or he's just trying to gain the max area that he can. Oh, looks like she'll go for the B banish, but without Tomahawk.
Yeah, again, Salad really doesn't like tipping her hand in terms of the B banish and the boomers as well. I believe she sees most of the value from the boomers as being the grass.
Ooh, nice. Managing to gain. I believe the rest of the B hits will be stopped, but that was still good damage. Oh yeah.
Ooh, and the life aura, it stops the knockback
Yeah.
from the banish ball. So this is becoming a very interesting situation. Shadow still has full area control, has the potential for big snakes plays right here.
I believe the push being stopped is host-client interaction, is that right? Or is it always like this?
I'm not sure. I believe it is host client.
So now snakes being prepared, but Salad has the Element Man into Muramasa. Okay, so snakes with full area plus 30 connect. That's more damage than Colonel Force, I believe.
Oh,
He stepped down, so the Judge Man is going to land into... Whoa!
oh.
Muramasa
1000
finish!
damage.
Nice.
And Shadow didn't pop Hub Batch yet, so he had no undershirt.
If he had that 1 HP, that could have been enough for him to survive and finish the game. But he didn't, and that was the end of the game. It just ended like that. Oh wow, what an ending.
That was an
Ooh.
amazing ending.
Yeah.
I mean, I really thought after the snakes, right, that that Shadow would be able to close it out, but the
Yeah,
reversal from the Element Man freeze into Muramasa was just too much damage.
yeah, exactly. That was very intense game. I guess it was interesting the order that Salad went for with the Judge Man after the Element Man, because I believe if Element Man Ice lands and Salad gets in the Muramasa to decross, even though that wasn't enough HP, enough damage, I believe, for the win, um, Shadow will still be frozen. He won't get any flashing from that.
No, I do believe he would be flashing from the Muramasa. So I think either way
Okay.
it can hinge on the lack of undershirt there.
But yeah, that was very good game. What a game to end on. And yeah, so
Yeah, well played to both Salad and Shadow there. That was very entertaining to watch.
yeah, and this marks the end of the stream. I guess before ending, just going to quickly remind people that if you join the N1GP, you can still sign up for next week. It's going to be normal BN, similar to this week. And there is also the option for people to submit art, as we can see the ones submitted by Uvo and Neryth, which are very good. I really like them. Um, so yeah, make sure to go there and check the information out. Um, and yeah, so big thanks to Salad for organizing the stream and the stream layout, and to Neryth for joining me on commentary.
Yeah, it was my pleasure.
All right, goodbye.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next week.